Good evening, people. I didn't say we're live like every other YouTube person going live, so I'm unique and different. That means that you should share and subscribe. Girls? Yeah, not like the other girls. Yeah, just like that. Anyways, welcome if you are already here, which you probably are not because I haven't tweeted it yet, but this is the exclusive segment on YouTube where I push the tweet button. And now also, I am tweeted.
I'm pretty sure we're episode 109.
Ah, I forgot. I knew I forgot something. I changed the title, but I did not change that. So I will update that on the audio version probably. I wonder if I can edit that in the middle of the stream. I don't think I can edit. Ooh, I think I can. Ooh.
Maybe. I don't know.
I push save. Did it change it? It said save. Changes saved. I've never tried this before.
Oh, it changed.
Yay!
Also, both of our sound is coming through okay on the YouTube.
Oh, that's good. So. We should have done a sound check first, but we didn't because we're idiots.
Yeah.
By which I mean I was running slightly late, and then you ran like about normal.
Even later.
Yeah, later than me. But I mean I didn't get. Usually I start getting set up like earlier, and I did not do that. Sorry, I was hearing something from the other room, and it's my phone ringing in the other room, but I'm not in that room, so I'm not going to answer it, because I'm in the middle of a podcast and things. Anyways, now that we've done enough of whatever that was doing, I suppose as an additional bonus, we could do an exclusive YouTube sound check, because I forgot to do that. So, this is our new sound check. Chris, say stuff. And now you know the secret to our sound check. We literally say basically that same thing every week. This is our new sound check.
Yep.
Chris, say stuff.
There's no secret to that.
And now you know...
Not anymore.
Yep. So that's your exclusive behind-the-scenes look that you're only getting here on YouTube. So anyways, now let's get the audio version rolling, and we can get into our game this week as well, which is some Skyward Sword HD, because that's the popular thing to be playing right now because it came out literally like this morning. So... that's cool. I'm going to play some Skyward Sword, and first I need to close this and get my thing ready so that I am ready for the ubiquitous opening monologue. Are you ready, Chris, for our theme song as well?
Yeah.
All right.
I have my instrument right here.
Sweet. That is the most tasty of all instruments. 3, 2, 1. Hello, Internet. My name is Spammelman, as always, your host of Drink to the Past, the only podcast where drink, drunk. Also, share, subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications every Friday when we go live on YouTube. I am joined by co-host and or guests, which this week is just Chris, who will be...
just me.
Yeah. Who will be here. Today's Sean Drinks Something Stupid is Kraken. That's it. I wasn't creative. I was like, you know what? I want a fucking shot of Kraken. That's what I'm going to drink.
It's not really that stupid.
No, actually, Kraken is, like, fantastic and not very expensive. So, like, if you like rum, check it out. It's my go-to rum.
Electrical Explosions Audette.
Awesome.
Because that's what was happening earlier. My power was going out a lot.
Nice. There was a watery explosion earlier today when I was at Denny's. That was awkward. So, yeah.
Was it pee?
It was something in their bathroom. I don't know. We came in and there was, like, water, like, fucking everywhere. And they said, yeah, there's a leak in the bathroom. They didn't say what was leaking, so I don't know if it was some kind of pipe. But then they said they had to close down after we left because they had, like, a plumber come out and check it out, and it was going to be like a $16,000 repair or something. Yeah, fuck you, Spiderweb. All right. Gotta move my beer. I just hit my beer with my Joy-Con very gently, and I was like, oh shit! That would have been really awkward. So this is a public service announcement to anybody drinking beer and playing Skyward Sword. Be careful where your beer is positioned. I love having a free-floating camera with the other stick now. That is like the best addition to this game. Because that's like legit the one tiny issue that Ocarina of Time has to this day, is that the camera is like slightly... Die! Go away! Sorry. Fighting bats. Yeah.
Is this on Switch?
This is on Switch. Just came out today. On Switch.
How's the sword controls?
I like... How do I get this? This is weird. Maybe I need a boomerang or something. Anyways, I seems pretty fine to me. You can see here as there's a little latency, but it's not as bad. It's actually really close to what I'm doing on my screen, but there is a little latency between that and what's coming through my capture card for the stream. But it's a lot closer to that kind of 1-to-1 sword play that was kind of promised in the original Wii version. It's still not like exactly like swordplay, but I feel like the Joy-Con makes for I feel like the motion control technology in this is way better than the Wii Motion Plus was anyway. And I think it works really well. I tried there's button only controls, so you can fight by moving the thumbstick. And I felt that was really awkward and janky, so I do not recommend that. But like, ow, fuck, there's a Deku Bob at the top of that. But if that's something that will get you to play the game instead of, because you're absolutely opposed to motion controls, then yeah, definitely check it out. See if it's for you, because other people have been saying, yeah, it's kind of weird, but it works, and some people like it better than the motion controls. From obviously everything that you will see currently is just early impressions, so it's hard to really get a read on whether or not this will make a difference. But I think the motion controls are unobtrusive enough in this game that like it's not that hard. It's light motions with your hand. So I think the only real argument to be made against motion controls is like if you actually have a physical disability and cannot like lightly move the controller for some reason. And in that case, I think that the button only control option is a really cool feature for people that would have that issue otherwise. But other than that, I feel like if you're complaining about the motion controls, you're just whiny. I didn't read what that thing said, but I remember this puzzle. You're a dizzy eye now, haha, because you look at my sword like a dumbass.
Yeah, you gotta just spin it over. So I gotta say, Skyward Sword was one of the Zelda games that I never actually played. Its original inception.
I feel like I'm syncing up the Joy-Con a lot more than I did with the Wiimote in the original. Like, the motion control will just be off and I'll have to recenter it, which isn't like a big problem, but it's just slightly more than it was. Yeah, it's gonna explode on me.
Switches were more of the, I almost want to say, traditional system.
Yeah. All right. So, Chris, do you want to take us through the news and booze?
Yeah, I'll take us through the news and booze. But before that, what have you been playing other than this?
Well, I just started playing this today, so that's not most of what I've been playing, obviously. I beat Miles Morales this week, and that was really cool. I think overall as a game, I liked it more than the original PS4 Spider-Man. So if you like that game, then absolutely check out Miles. The PlayStation 5 upgrades are really cool too. It's a lot of them I feel like I had to kind of go out of my way to discover, like the looking at the is this the first room where I came and the webs have respawned? I feel like that's what's going on here.
Hope not, but it looks very similar.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because there's the statue. I'll save as long as I'm here, but yeah. So yeah, it had a really powerful ending too. I think the ending was really cool. I won't spoil anything, obviously, because a lot of people I think are waiting to get PS5s in order to play this game. Yeah, this is just a little shortcut here. Okay. Oh, and there's another bird statue to save right here. So. Whoop, nope. Hold on. I pushed save and quit. I just want to save. Yeah, so Miles Morales was really, really good story overall. I think I like the characters and the story presentation better than the first one. The gameplay it basically gives you every power you had at the end of the first game, and then you get new, unique powers to Miles through the story as it progresses, and I think that's
invisibility or something.
Yeah, you get his invisibility is a big one, and he gets these bioelectric powers, so you can like zap punch people and stuff. And it's really cool. So there's a ton of it keeps it unique. It's not just more of the same Spider-Man, because, it's a different Spider-Man. He gets different powers, which I think is one of the attractions of Miles Morales as a character anyway, because if it was just, it's another guy who's Spider-Man, I feel like that would be boring. But it's like, no, you get into all this crazy-ass alternate universe shit, which this one doesn't go into as much. Like, Into the Spider-Verse was all about that alternate universe crazy, wacky bullshit. This doesn't have any of that to worry about, but it just happens to be set in one of the universes where there is, two Spider-Man. Stabbing is apparently slightly difficult. 2 doors lead to rooms left and right, but they will only open when the gemstones are struck. One is above, one below. Okay, yeah, I think I remember this puzzle. Like, one of the switches is hidden somehow.
So, no need to ask what I've been playing, because it's just been more Dota. And also, I played a little bit of Into the Breach.
Okay.
Just enough to get a feel for it, and I kind of... It's one of those games where I feel like, for those of you who don't know, it's like a tactical. It's like a tactical RPG where you're controlling like mecha, and you have to fight off like an alien, like invasion. So it's
I like mechs.
But
aliens.
It's more, but the tactics portion of it, and this is not an original comment. The tactics portion of it feel more like a puzzle than they do like an actual tactics game.
I kind of like that idea, actually.
Yeah, so it's pretty fun, but also the game kicks my ass, and when I lose the game, because it's a roguelike, you go all the way back to the start. It's pretty demoralizing, and because I can tactically think through like several maps, and then I can lose and be like, all right, I kind of don't feel like starting from square one again today. So
right.
I thought it was enjoyable, but it's not like
there's just a couple of single rupees just lying around here, and I feel like they're traps. Nope, just a rupee.
Just regular rupees.
Right. I'm like, there aren't rupee likes in this game, are there?
Imagine if there was just a trail of rupees leading somewhere, and then it led up next to a treasure chest, and the treasure chest just took a bite out of you by the time you got there.
And I already don't trust everything because it's a mimic, right?
Yeah.
How to get a D&D player to shit bricks in a Zelda game.
Pull the old James Woods mimic routine on them. And with that, let's get into our news and booze.
All right. Well, we'll have to drink some booze then. What you drinking, Chris?
I am drinking a Breckenridge Brewery Hop Peak IPA. And I gotta say, because they just bastardized this, they just blasted it with hops. They fucked it up with hops. They put hops in every amount of it. It definitely got more flavor than the last beer I had on the show. But the beer flavor is primarily hops.
Right. Ow. Okay. I need fire to blow up that web or something. I've forgotten. Let's see. I can circumvent it for now. If I can aim. Yeah, the Hop Peak I feel like is like it meets all the checkboxes for an IPA. It has hops and it has hops.
Yeah.
It's pretty much all you can really say about it. It's like...
To be fair, it's a lot of hops.
Mm-hmm.
It is super, super hoppy. But yeah, it's pretty one note.
Yeah. Like, it's again another one that came in that 15 pack, huh? So 15 beers for $15. Again, you can't complain, but at the same time, you can totally complain.
Like, Anheuser-Busch, why'd you gotta make things worse? Anyway.
Because they're cheap. Cheap
Valve announces the Steam Deck, a new handheld gaming PC starting at $399, or, $400 if you want to add $1 like some kind of ape. And I was pleased to find out, not that I have any intention of using this, but I was pleased to find out that this thing can play Dota. Officially confirmed by Gaben.
Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Although, I wonder how it'll play, if it'll actually, implement controller controls, or... Because it's got 2 touchpads on the sides of it, and it's got a touch screen, so I wonder how exactly they'll implement. Also, it's got keyboard-mouse support, so you could theoretically hook up a keyboard and mouse and play it that way, and at that point, I'm like... This isn't really any more enticing than just a gaming laptop. But, because for me the attraction is it's a handheld game console that you can actually play all your Steam games on. And I look at Steam games a lot when they're on Steam sale and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, I could buy that, it's super cheap. And then I don't, because I don't want to play it on my PC. But if I had one of these things, then I feel like I would get a lot more out of Steam sales, like all the people do. I gotta
say, this thing is, you did get a thing.
Yeah, it's a dungeon map.
I gotta say, this thing, even if you're not using mouse and keyboard support, which you would definitely need if you're going to play Dota on it, this thing does look like a 4-controller Ada Switch.
Right.
And where it's like...
It's funny, everybody's like, oh, it looks like a big Switch, and I'm like, it looks more like a Wii U gamepad. Why is nobody comparing it to the Wii U gamepad? But then I remember, I'm like one of 7 people who owns a Wii U. So that's why.
The Wii U was the PS3 of that generation.
Yes.
I'm like, this thing does look appealing to me. I like the design of this thing. I probably would not pick one up myself because I'm an avid PC gamer. And
right.
I'm not going to pick up another platform to PC game to just play PC games on.
Right.
But in terms of design, I like the design of it. I like the design of the Switch, and I like the design of the various PlayStation controllers. So why wouldn't I like something that's like a combination of that design?
Yeah.
It seems to be like a pretty competent version of it.
Yeah, I think it looks okay. A lot of people are saying they don't like the layout for the joysticks and the buttons and stuff. I'm like, for me, it's one of those things that you really just gotta hold it in order to really be able to tell. I'm like, if I can't hold it, in my hands, I can't really make that call. Because it could be fine. The placement looks strange. It's not standard like we're used to having, the joystick and buttons vertically from each other, and it's
kind of weird to have to be manipulating the joysticks and then need to pull your thumb backwards off of them closer to your hand to hit the buttons. But it's not that weird. I agree with you. I would have to hold it.
I just spent all my stamina failing to hit a spider web.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, that thing got off again. Because I'm trying to do a vertical. There it goes. But it's difficult sometimes if your tracker gets off. So
then you got to recalibrate.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you push a button and it recenters, so it's not like it's hard or anything. But it's like if you don't think about it, because I haven't had to do anything like that in a game in a long ass time. It's like just another thing to think about.
A bunch of World of Warcraft players are jumping ship to play Final Fantasy XIV. So many that the game has sold out all of its physical and digital Wait, how does it sell out its fucking digital copies? What?
That was something I wondered. So I read an article on this on IGN or someplace, and it's kind of interesting. Basically, what happened is that they sold so many online copies that the digital storefront ran out of codes to deliver in order to download it. So players were getting errors because the store could not give them a code, so it wouldn't let you buy them because the store was out of codes, which I don't know how they generate codes. I would assume it's like a random thing from an algorithm or something, but I don't really know how that works. But I just thought that this was absolutely fucking hilarious that they managed to sell out a game on a digital storefront. Yeah, that's crazy.
Phoenix, okay, I have no idea how those codes are generated either. I'd assume the same thing you would, but
yeah.
How the fuck do you run out of that? Who's running your digital store there, Square Enix? I'm looking at Steam and they don't look like they're having that problem, but then it says you need a Square Enix North America account to play, so maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I also have to say that because I will not give money to Blizzard, Square Enix is, I think, a less scummy company.
Yeah, generally I'm okay with what Square Enix does. They're never in the news for shady shit. Every now and then they're in the news for some weird, dumb, stupid shit, but it's not usually fucked up.
As far as gaming companies go, they're not exceptionally worse than the others.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But yeah, it's funny too because a lot I guess this was partially spurred by a couple of big World of Warcraft streamers jumped ship from World of Warcraft and started streaming Final Fantasy XIV instead. And I thought that was kind of interesting because basically it sounds like they're all complaining about the gameplay loop being very grindy in order to keep you upgrading your gear to the point where it's you can actually start doing the big raids and things like that, and then you have to restart when the next expansion comes out from square one and do it all again and grind and grind and grind and grind until you have the max level and the best gear again. And I'm like, this is the shit that I was complaining about when I played World of Warcraft in Wrath of the fucking Lich King, bro.
What?
It's still going on and you're finally fucking listening to me?
What changed their minds? What was the point where this much grind? That's too much. I'm gonna jump ship to another MMO, which is also gonna have grind in it because it's a fucking MMO.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, that's probably gonna be a problem with Final Fantasy XIV too. But yeah. I'm you know, it's a weird situation, and you know, at the very least, I think it's hilarious.
I mean, I'm not going to complain about Blizzard's fall from grace here.
Yeah. So it's I think this is hilarious though, because when Final Fantasy XIV came out, like, people joked about it being the World of Warcraft killer, and now, like, it might actually be happening, and that's fucking hilarious, because when it came out, nobody liked Final Fantasy XIV. I remember everybody I heard talk about it that had played it was just shitting all over it. So I think it's kind of funny to see, you know, how it's kind of come back around.
That's yeah. That's well, if I ever have an MMO I want to actually give a shot, I might play Final Fantasy XIV to play a white mage or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be all right. I just want to be like a fucking Moogle Dragoon, just jump on bitches with a spear.
You know what? If you start playing that game, let me know.
I might. See if they put that... Like, every other Final Fantasy game is on Game Pass now. Put that on Game Pass. Listen to me, Xbox. I have good ideas.
Let's see. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl announced for PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch.
This is the game that I least expected to blow up this year. Like, everybody on the internet is flipping their shit and so hyped for this. And it's like... I wasn't myself, but, like, everybody, like, getting so hyped about it was like, alright, I'm gonna watch the trailer, see what I think. And the trailer is like, it starts out with, like, a bunch of, you know, somewhat generic Nicktoons people that I'm like, I kind of remember them from at some point, but I'm not like, okay, the Ninja Turtles are in, that's kind of neat, they have, you know, they have their own games. Okay, and then fucking out of nowhere, the trailer is just like, Invader Zim is in, and I'm like, I'm buying this shit. Fuck yes. Invader Zim in a fucking game where I can... Yeah, it's a interesting crossover because it's got a lot of, like, the 80s and 90s Nickelodeon cartoon characters as well as some of the modern ones, so I think it's kind of neat. I don't know if it's going to be great, but it's at least got a roster that's interesting enough to get me into it. According to the box art, it looks like it's also going to have some of the characters from Avatar, and some other characters confirmed are like who else was confirmed? Reptar, SpongeBob is in there, yeah, and Patrick, and I'm like, okay, I could see myself making Patrick, and fucking Reptar from Rugrats. I'm like, dude.
I guess people are really fucking excited to see, like, Rocco beat the shit out of Jimmy Neutron or something. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, I don't know if either of them specific. There's somebody from Rocco's Modern Life. But I never actually watched that show, so I couldn't tell you, like, who it was. I was more of a Cartoon Network kid, which is partially why I was, like, so non-hype about this before, but that, like, the big exception to my, being a Cartoon Network kid is Invader Zim. Like, I think that's, like, one of the best shows ever made. It's so fucking great.
I gotta say, yeah, I think you and me are the ones who were kind of the Cartoon Network kids when a lot of, more so than a lot of the other...
Yeah, a lot of our generation's
from our
people,
generation, yeah. So it's like, yeah, I'd be more excited to see, like, Ed beating the shit out of Billy, just because...
Right. And it's funny, though, because, like, there was totally a Cartoon Network-style game kind of like this. I don't remember exactly who was in it, but it had at least Samurai Jack and Johnny Bravo. And I was like, that looks neat enough for that I want to get on board with this. But it didn't catch any hype at all. And I was like, nobody's talking about it. It's probably, like, just some jank-ass game that they made for cheap just to get it out there. I don't even know. And this might be that, too. I don't even know. Like, this might just be total jank. Like look at us. We hired some studio you never heard of that was cheap as shit to make a game, but then we put in all of the 80s and 90s guys, so you're hype as fuck. Okay.
I hear about shit like this, and I ask myself if we're being punked. Like, if all the excitement isn't just a meme.
Right?
That's how I feel about that.
It could be.
Alright, the Zelda cartridge that we talked about last week got one-ups by a new in-box Mario 64 game, which now holds the world record at $1.5 million for a single game. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Let's see if I have my Mario 64 cartridge somewhere here. It's used, so even
Yeah.
if it gets like a tenth of that.
Right? Probably not, because, like, people are questioning why exactly it went for so much, because, like, it is the highest graded Mario 64 cartridge of all time, or something, which it was, like, sent into a grading company, and I guess it received a 9.8 grade, I think is what it was. I don't know exactly what that means, because I've never, like, paid attention to grading video games, because when I buy video games, I instantly take them out of the box and I play them, like this shit that I am playing right now that I bought today. So I will never see that much money. But yeah, like the last Mario 64 cartridge was like graded 0.1 points lower at a 6 or a 9.7 or something like that, and it was like not even close to as much. It was like $30,000, which is still like a shitload of money, but it's not like $1.5 million fucking dollars for a game you're never gonna play.
Oh my god! Alright, so I was not able to find my Mario 64 cart. I guarantee that when I do find it, it will not be a 9 point whatever grade.
Right.
I don't know what their grading scale is.
I assume it's out of 10. I don't know.
But I think grades were like for like mint condition, near mint, like brilliant. Yeah, there was. I remember reading something back when I was looking at, like I think coins. There's like a grading scale for coins that's really similar. So I don't know what's making this. This is.
Yeah.
Maybe someone just wanted to make sure that Mario stayed on top, and he's like, fuck Zelda.
Right.
Anyway, last piece of news and booze, and I feel like this one... There's like, I would be sad about this one if, it mattered, I guess? If it wasn't immediately getting replaced with something else. Final Fantasies 1, 2, 5, and 6 will be delisted from Steam and mobile on July 27th. Final Fantasy 1 and 2, only being on mobile. Because they were like airbrushed pixels redone by an intern and they looked really crappy. And they're getting replaced by the Pixel Remaster. It's hard for me to see this as a bad thing when it's immediately getting replaced by the better version.
Right. It's something that people are arguing about as a game preservation thing, which I kind of get. I don't know. I can't speak to the Steam versions, so I thought this might be an interesting topic of discussion, but I don't know, because I've never played the Steam versions. I've played the original versions on NES, and I've played the remakes on PSP and PS1 and Game Boy Advance because I'm a fucking whore. But I've never played specifically the Steam versions. I think one of the things was that I think one of them is like the remake of Final Fantasy 1 on Steam. I think that version is has some of the extra content that they put in, which I played, and it was really cool extra content that they added like as end-game content.
There's no Final Fantasy 1 on Steam.
There's no Final Fantasy? I thought it said Final Fantasy 1 was one of them that was getting delisted in the tweet. I could be wrong.
That is mobile only?
Okay, that one's getting delisted from mobile.
Oh, wait, what the actual fuck? Oh, you can pre-purchase the
Pixel Remaster one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, I must have just read the article wrong then. Yeah, but those come with extra content, and apparently the Pixel Remasters are new remasters of the original versions, so they are not remastering or including any of the extra content that was put in there, which I think is kind of a shame, because the extra dungeons that they put in Final Fantasy 1 when they remade it on Game Boy Advance and PlayStation are fucking great. And it's like they had, like, one of them had, like, all of the bosses from Final Fantasy 4 in it, and I was just like, this is such a cool, like, throwback to literally my favorite Final Fantasy game.
That makes me significantly less excited for the Final Fantasy 1 and 2 remasters then, because the extra content is kind of like, oh, I wanted to see, like, the fully included version, and then just, like...
Because it's like, if they were replacing it with, like, the definitive version, then it would be like, alright, that's fine. But, yeah, it's not really a definitive version, because it's got content that is missing from a different version. So it's like, it's hard to know what to make of it.
Yeah, that's a real shame. Tell them, hey, don't do that.
Can I get in from that door? I've been wandering around in circles for, like, too long, partially because it's hard to concentrate on this and the conversation at the same time, but I'm just like, where is it? I gotta get there. So I gotta get up there somehow. Can I reach there from here? No. Can't climb anything like Breath of the Wild, Link. Come on, you fucking sissy.
Well, that was our last piece of news and booze, and that carried a sudden, surprising twist for me. An unfortunate one, where I don't get to actually play, like, with the bonus dungeon content stuff that I would have liked to, that was included in, like, the Game Boy Advance versions and PSP versions and all that. So
I think I still have the Game Boy Advance version. You can borrow it. I know I got the PSP version. I'm not sure if I still have the Game Boy Advance version or not. I'd have to look through my GBA games.
I may have to emulate the PSP version. That's the weird thing about these remasters, is if you decide to do them differently then you can't really get the same experience out of them.
Right.
And because games are treated like product to be sold, and a lot of the time, even with these remasters, because you can't get that same experience, you kind of gotta emulate, or you're just SOL.
Found it.
Which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, that's one of those things, because I'm like, I got a PSP and an original UMD of Final Fantasy 1, but most people don't. That is not a thing that most people have, I think. I'm not sure most people have ever had a PSP. I don't think that console sold that well, if I remember right. It was, like, kind of underwhelming.
I do have a PSP, but it's completely unusable because the batteries apparently were pretty notorious for, like, puffing up and getting close to exploding. And my PSP was no exception. It was in that condition when I found it, which means that, hey, yeah, I do have a PSP, but I would have to emulate it anyway.
Yeah, that's one of those things. My battery had issues, like, if I didn't play my PSP for a couple of days, it would, like, just the battery would die so hard that I would have to, like, plug it in for several hours, and then it would come back and I'd have to reset the date and time and all that and manually reset the entire system. It would keep my save data, so it was okay, but it was like, I feel like it should not take that long.
It is weird that we have old pieces of hardware like this that have these issues that emulation just doesn't. Definitely kind of odd. Well, that's our last piece of news and booze. Shall we move on to the video game topic?
Yeah, I suppose we can go into the video game topic. So, now I gotta play a tune, because that's the rules.
Yeah. You didn't play Hammer Bros?
Yeah, I apparently forgot to do the News and Booze theme song, so I'll do both of them. Yay!
Hey.
I had a slight squeak in there for my... I think my reed's getting a little old, so because it's been doing that more lately.
It's funny to have a reed on an electronic bagpipes like that.
This one isn't my electric. This is my just plain old one. So I got to blow in it and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Let's see. Video game topic. Are games with more character customization better?
Yeah. Are they indeed? You think they are?
I'm inclined to think that's always been a selling point for me whenever I look at buying games. It was like, how much customization can I do to this? And the more, the better. Doesn't matter if I actually end up using it, but that's like a feature that counts for a disproportionate amount of how much I like a game, or like how much a game appeals to me.
Yeah, that's kind of fair. I feel like it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, because, like, every time I have a game that has super high customization, I feel like none of it matters, and that all of my dialogue options are just going to be totally generic and pointless. There's few exceptions to that. Like, I feel like you get really good meaty role-playing in a customizable character in, like, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, as an example. But I feel like that's kind of an outlier. Like, in any Elder Scrolls game ever, you have really cool customization. You have deep customization of not just the mechanical side of yourself, but also the appearance. And, like, it doesn't really matter. You can play that game, any of them in the series, any way you want, and still be fine in the game and have a good time. And you know, there's not... It's a role-playing game, but there's not really all that much, you know, role-playing insofar as character... Yeah. Yeah. There's some amount of it, because, like, you're technically talking to all these people and occasionally choosing dialogue options, and... But really, what it comes down to is that... Like you don't have any character interaction is the big problem with it, right? Because you're technically role playing, but you're not. Your character doesn't interact. They don't talk. They don't do anything. Like this guy here, you see this here guy. He emotes more than any guy in Skyrim, as customers as they are, you know. And Link is like one of the most faceless people of all time.
I think that issue is more particular to Bethesda games, or games that have character customization that's kind of poor. Or not, I guess it's not poor isn't the right word, because they still got the character customization, it's just that the role-playing isn't the focus. Because I know pretty much most of the BioWare games up to the point that I kind of stopped playing BioWare games, did that pretty well in terms of making the person you were playing feel like a character of their own and have like a dynamic with the group they were traveling with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like that's like a BioWare staple, almost, I would want to say. And I know there's a lot of other customizable RPGs that do that pretty well, and where you get you kind of have a bunch of options in how to play. Not the least of which is Fallout New Vegas,
right?
Where you definitely have a huge amount of ways you can approach a situation, and also you can make yourself look. It's got the whole Oblivion Fallout 3 character customizer, but Fallout 3 doesn't let you roleplay in the same way New Vegas does.
Mm-hmm.
If you really wanted to look for contrast in the games. And then you have games on the other end of the spectrum, like, what was it, Code Vein, where basically your character is a blank fucking slate who never talks, and then you have other characters around them that are like generic anime archetypes,
mm-hmm.
and they still end up having more personality because they emote at all.
Yeah. Was that the one that everybody was like showing off their customized characters in? Would had like one of the best like aesthetic customizers ever made, and people were making all sorts of different guys in them. Because that looked neat. I didn't actually play it, but I did almost think about it just for the fact that like there was so much surrounding the character customizer.
Character customizer is why I picked that up, and the gameplay was pretty fun. It was pretty solid. But like the story of the game is just not good. I guess it's story of the game is it's got a bunch of like moments set up in it where they're supposed to be like big and emotional, but because they never did any of the legwork of making you care about what you're seeing, they just don't do anything. And that's more like a writing problem. That's not like a character customization problem.
Right.
You could get that in a game with no customization.
Mini boss here.
So, I will say, character customization games, like, it probably wouldn't be appropriate for Undertale.
Right.
Which is a game you played. It's like, yeah, you got your character very much looks like a blank slate kid.
Yeah.
But
to the point where it's like people are arguing on the internet what gender you even are, if you are a gender. I feel like there was a canonical answer, and everybody argued about it anyway.
There was no canonical answer.
Was there?
It was intentionally other than.
Now you know where this annoying ass thing comes from, Super Smash Brothers, right? If you haven't played this game before, this is what like the most pain in the ass thing in Smash Ultimate.
Oh, the beetle that picks you up and carries you.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna carry you off of the edge now, and you die, and you're like, fuck you. And sometimes if you mash buttons, you can get out of it, but it doesn't seem to like actually. I don't know if that's how you get out of it. It might just be luck that it randomly drops you sometimes. I have no fucking clue, because sometimes I'm like mashing buttons forever, and it's like a long way up, and it still just like one shots me. I'm like, why, man? Why?
I remember getting some opportunistic kills on you with that.
Yeah. I remember I didn't even understand what the 1-up flag was until you got one, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on, that's not fair, I'm turning that shit off. Like, that's the one thing in the game that I'm just like, nope, that's bullshit.
You know what, that's fine, that item is bullshit. Let's see.
There's this tiny plant here, and it looks like I should be able to cut it.
There is
maybe it was a heart
said
earlier.
About character customization not working for a game where the character is the kind of character customization where you like make the character look the way you want them to. There is a thing to be said for that not working for a game that actually wants like their protagonist character that you play to be a very particular kind of character. Because it wouldn't make a lot of sense to have a character. Oh, that's how you activate. You flip that. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to have that character look like anything. The only game that I know game series I can think of that does that and has done it successfully is probably Saints Row. And that's mostly because no matter what your character looks like, they come off as like egotistical enough to look like however crazy you make them, and then still be entertaining. And that's, but I honestly, Saints Row is like kind of throwing a whole wrench in my no character customization thing, because that character has a shitload of personality and you don't really pick what they say, and it still ends up working out.
That's kind of interesting. I feel like that works in most Fire Emblem games with your avatar character. The outlier being Three Houses. Byleth is a shit character because you don't say anything. You have no actual dialogue with anybody, and that really is really the driving thing that makes me come back to Fire Emblem is seeing, the conversations between all the unique characters and things like that. That's my favorite thing about it. It's a very character-driven game series for me.
Fire Emblem is a game that's very much about the interpersonal dynamics. And also permadeath, making sure that it hurts extra hard if you lose those people.
Right, yeah.
And, with Corin and Robin, it seemed like they did that pretty well in terms of...
Yeah, I thought both of them were, they weren't, overly... They weren't the best characters. They were still blank enough that it, worked well as an avatar character, and you could kind of superimpose your own personality on it, which I think is part of the attraction of having that avatar character in some cases. Maybe not the attraction, but I think that's something that developers and writers go for. I think that's a specific reason why they write characters like that sometimes. And it was kind of cool because actually both of them also you could pretty much make into any class mechanically too, I think. So it's again, you're hitting all the notes of customization and hitting most of the notes of still being an okay character, but I feel like it's a hard thing to balance. And I think it could be better for the character if they were just a character, because the best avatar character in the Fire Emblem series, in any of the Fire Emblem games that I've played, is probably toss-up between Lyn and Ike. Lyn's not technically your avatar character. Technically, you also have a character in that game, but you literally never see their face, and they never say any dialogue. So
running all the battles, but
yeah, it's in that case, it's more like they're literally talking to you, so you can again kind of superimpose yourself on the conversation. But with Ike, he's clearly the main protagonist, and he's the tactician, according to the canon and all that. So, I feel like that's where it gets to be a better thing for the characterization, is when the writing team actually creates a custom character that they develop through the course of the game and all that, and they actually give them, personality and their own lines and all that. I don't think any of the Avatar characters really stand up to Ike as for characterization. And Ike isn't, he's a little bit anime generic dude, right? Shonen protagonist, kind of. So...
But the fact that he has his own name means that he can be written to have, his own personality corpus.
Yeah.
Without it being what the fuck? Who the fuck is this protagonist on planet?
Right, yeah.
And I guess Saints Row, particularly in Saints Row 2, the character had a bit of that who the fuck is this guy I'm playing, even though I chose their appearance and how they dress and what they sound like and all that stuff.
Right.
They're still, because they're their own character, they end up doing some in some bonus missions, they end up doing some not cool shit that will make you, if you're trying to look for a sympathetic kind of character, which you shouldn't, it's Saints Row, you're gonna be in for a nasty surprise.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a through and through scumbag.
Huh.
But I was I definitely didn't mind that. I thought that was plenty entertaining.
Yeah.
So I guess it's character customization, not right for every game, but in the games that can make it work, that it won't derail the concept of. I always appreciate it.
Yeah,
kind of
and
my final take on things.
It really sort of depends on the game too, because sometimes the game really just needs to make use out of customization rather than out of, that's the attraction of some games is the customization. Because like I said, the characterization kind of sucks in, Skyrim, but the customization is awesome, and that's one of the fun things about Skyrim is creating, a Nord sword for the 75th time because you created 3 other characters one time and tried them for 15 seconds and thought, well, that was neat, but I really need to be a Nord sword.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure you and I are the people who play Nord swords, and everybody else plays stealth archers. That's the
Could be.
That's the meme I've seen going around years ago.
I'm a Nord sword. Every time. I've made different characters in both games. Both games that I've spent a lot of time in. I didn't spend as much time in Oblivion, so I've just made a Nord sword in that.
So
but
it's I feel like even if the Elder Scrolls games had a defined character, I don't feel like the role playing would be much better for it, because I don't feel like that's their strength typically.
Yeah, it's
Anyone
okay.
who's played Elder Scrolls Redguard, let me know if I'm full of shit or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will probably be to the detriment of your characterization if you make a highly customizable character in your game. But that's not to say that you can't make a highly customizable character be an interesting thing to play anyway. That can be an attraction of a game anyway.
Yeah.
What the hell was that? Oh, it's just a bunch of hearts.
I feel like the main reason games typically don't have character customization and then good roleplay opportunities is because those concepts are kind of hard to balance, and it leads to exponentially more work. It's not because it's totally unfeasible, it's just because it's difficult to do those two things together.
Yeah.
So, if you put character customization in a game, and then that character also has good dynamics, good roleplay opportunities, you write them well, and then you write the rest of the game well, yeah, I'll happily play your game.
Mm-hmm. This requires too much focus for a stupid puzzle. it's the same puzzle again, but I gotta pay attention to my, exactly my position and all that.
Open all the eyes, and then you gotta spin them.
Yep. I got a key.
Oh god, got a key. Is that all we gotta say about character customization, Joe?
Yeah, I think we generally got it out there. Like, it's a great thing, but sometimes it can be a detriment, and sometimes it's okay to be a detriment. And every now and then, you get a really ridiculously special thing like Knights of the Old Republic where it just fucking works on every single level.
Or, Mass Effect, or the Dragon
I've heard
Age.
that about Mass Effect, yeah. I've only very briefly played Mass Effect and Dragon Age, actually. I played, like, the intros of both of those games and then never came back to them for no particularly good reason.
Well, I always harp on the Baldur's Gate series, particularly Baldur's Gate 2, and for characterization, I would say.
This is another place where I always bring up the fact that I've only ever played Dark Alliance, which was not really Baldur's Gate.
It's not really Baldur's Gate at all. Well, I guess Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out, but that's handled by a whole different company and different writing staff. And everything. And different 3 editions later of D&D, and totally different storyline, so... I don't know what relation it has to the original Baldur's Gate, other than, being partially set in Baldur's Gate. So I trust Larian Studios to usually do a good job with that, but I also don't. It's not going to be the same.
Right.
Everything is different. I can't play a half-elf fighter, mage, cleric, multi-class that can get 9th level, 7th level spells. And
wait, can I use the beetle for this?
I can't power games hard. You should be able to use the beetle.
I feel like I can cut off their vines. Maybe. Yeah, that was it. Okay. I'm all sitting here trying to target them from too far away and shit. Beetle is slightly awkward to control with the motion controls. That's something that I wish they had, like, an option to pick, like, what things do and don't use motion controls. Because, like, I like the motion controls for sword fighting. I tried it with the thumbstick, and I did not care for it with the thumbstick.
I don't like them for the beetle.
But, yeah, I don't think they're necessary for the beetle. I don't like them for the loft wing flying. I'm like, some of these things I want to have motion controls, and some of these things I don't. But in order to literally switch between them, you have to go into the menu and push motion controls off or button controls off, or pick your whichever setting. And it's like, it's cool that they're there, but I wish it was a little more customizable. Ow! I expected him to... There we go. Oh, nope. Gotta get all 3 heads.
You're gonna play us off with the tabletop theme?
Yes, as soon as I kill this Gliok guy here. Maybe. I only got one of his heads.
I mean, his heads aren't flying off and shooting fireballs at you, so he's kind of a Gliok.
Yeah, he's not nearly as cool as the Zelda 1 Gliok. I am getting my ass kicked.
You know what? That means I want to see that in Breath of the Wild, too.
That is what I've been saying for fucking...
For 500 years?
Yeah. There. Okay. Just fucking wail on it.
Spam your sword.
Yes, that is the secret I have learned to everything. It's just fucking spam your sword. It's okay. Unless they're like when you're in the levels where they're like electric zappy dicks. Then you have to actually pay some attention occasionally. Anyways, the table topic.
should character creation take? And does the amount of customization in the system change this? I'm actually interested in hearing your thoughts on this one first, because I got a lot.
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing that Chris and I have at least spoken a little bit about before, but never, had a big discussion about, because one of the things that bugs us about a lot of tabletops is that character creation takes fucking forever. That is an issue with some tabletops, even, Dungeons and Dragons sometimes, when when we both know the system very well, for at least certain editions of D&D, I was actually working on a character. I've been working on it off and on for the past few weeks since my character in one of my campaigns died. I've been making a new character, and I have spent, I think, probably about 8 hours total on that character, and it's not even high level. It's we're level 13, so we're it's mid.
That's reasonably high.
Yeah, it's mid level, right? It's not. You have to get into the ridiculous complicated bullshit, but you have to do a certain amount of complicated bullshit. And part of the reason it took so long is that I made it a rogue ranger kind of cross-class hybrid thing, and I thought that would be kind of neat. And then our buddy Owen enlightened me to the fact that there's another class that's basically a hybrid ranger rogue class.
Is that the scout?
It's I was trying to think of what it was called. They're coming from both sides. Shake the rope, shake the rope, get off!
That's not good.
Got him! Haha! Okay. There we go. Oh, I need the boss key over there. I wonder if there's anything else to do over there. It's easier than balancing, but it's slow as shit.
Delay there.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and now I'm looking at it again because Owen sent me a homebrew class that's somewhat synergistic with what I've been doing, and I'm looking at, am I going to, basically rebuild this character a second time? Because I rebuilt it basically from the ground up when I discovered this new class. I didn't completely rewrite it, but I had to be okay, am I dropping Rager levels? Am I dropping Rogue levels? How am I gonna, what abilities do I lose to... Oh, shit. I fell in a hole. There.
Not falling in holes.
Yeah, it looked like I couldn't reach that. I was like, what the hell? I'm not sure why I didn't reach that the first time. And this, shaking the rope, should not be a motion control. I should not have to whack off to swing on the rope.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Not a fan of whacking off to swing on rope.
Now, whacking off to charge up my lightsaber in No More Heroes, that is fine. But swinging on a rope, no thanks, man.
It doesn't require precision. You just gotta really go at it.
Right?
To charge up your lightsaber.
Yeah. I'm sorry, beam katana, so they don't get sued.
I will say in 3.5, I have had several 20th level or so character builds take an entire work day to put together.
I really suck at jumping at ropes, apparently. But yeah, at 20th level, it takes even longer sometimes, and it's not that that's a terrible thing, because you get a ridiculous amount of customization out of that. In theory, it really depends, because there's so many ways specifically in 3.5 to build your character. So and that's to some extent, the attraction of... Ah, fuck. Accidentally ran off the opposite cliff. I'm going to start drinking every time I fucking run off a cliff like a dumbass.
Oh, man.
I'll be dead in a few minutes.
I would say...
That way I don't have to worry about it.
I will say, comparing, say, 3.5 to Mutants and Masterminds, which is a point build, like, superhero system, Mutants and Masterminds, I would say, has more flexibility in character creation in terms of the kind of character you can build and put together, and it takes significantly less time to put together. And it's also a D20 based system. So
what the fuck, like, Wizards?
Yeah, and it's because 3.5, a lot of the character customization 3.5 is about, like, mechanical optimization and, like, putting together the character as best you can using basically pre-made pieces. It's like you have a jigsaw puzzle where everything is cut out in certain shapes, and you got, like, a lot of shapes. You got, I guess, several jigsaw puzzles. The metaphor is falling apart quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta figure out how to put them together in, like, a complete picture. You gotta figure out how to put together the picture you want using those pre-made pieces, and it's necessarily just gonna be that much harder to put it together, whereas Mutants and Masterminds, comparatively speaking, at least, is more like handing somebody a pencil and a pen and being like, alright, get to drawing the picture you want. So that's gonna be a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's kind of fair. And to some extent, I actually enjoy the long, complicated process of that puzzle. Like, there is some attraction in that. You know, at a certain point, it gets egregious, though. It's like, I like the thought project of creating a character that is good at blank. You know, whatever that happens to be. And 90% of the time, I get away with it by building a fighter differently. You know, I have built so many fighters, and they have all played so differently between 3.5 and Pathfinder specifically, and occasionally, like, 5th edition or whatever, depending on what our group is playing. But our group has stuck with 3.5 and Pathfinder a lot over the years, so...
I guess what I would say about character customization is that there's, like, we've also played, like, what is it, Hero System.
Yeah.
So you've made characters in both Hero System and Mutants and Masterminds, Sean.
Yeah.
Which of those would you say you think is easier to build a character?
Which one was Mutants and Masterminds? Was that the one where we played Nova C?
No, that was Wild Talents. I
That's
think
Wild Talents.
Is the easiest of those, but
yeah, Wild Talents is a good, easy system to build in, I think, if I remember right. So that is possibly another good recommendation for you if you're interested in this conversation.
Hey, it's this loser.
Yeah.
But no, Mutants and Masterminds was 4-color double tap, where you played your Steam Necromancer.
Yes. Okay. And then later we played. I played. Later, did I play Doc in that system, or was that a? No, that was in.
You made Doc an NPC in that system.
Oh yeah, that was the time I DM'd a game without ever playing the system before or looking at the rulebook one time, because I am that much of a fucking wing it game master. I'm just like, I can do this. I'm just going to write the content, and then I'm going to balance it on the fly as the players are going. And everybody seemed to, like, enjoy it, and it was okay. And also, I cut off my notes, like, in the middle of a sentence. Like, I just didn't finish my sentence when I had to stop writing my notes, and I think I printed them out and everything, and I was, like, looking at my notes. I'm like, well, fuck, I I didn't even finish my sentence. But I had enough of an idea in my mind of what dumb shit we were going to do that it worked. Okay, yes. So, Necromancer. Yes, okay. Yeah, I had a shitload of fun in that system. And I don't feel like I was making a character for forever. And I feel like I had a very unique set of skills that to replicate in 3.5 D&D would have taken a lot more high power level of a person
and
to make all of those things. And yeah, you would have spent way fucking longer. And now, admittedly, again, that's part of the attraction to an extent of D&D, is the thought project of how do I make my character good at this and this and this. But at the end of the day, I really kind of like having lower level characters that have more shit to do. Because, like, I can thought project a 20th level fighter all fucking day. A 10th level fighter all fucking day. Even 5th level. But, like, when you start a campaign and you are a fighter, you take fucking power attack. That is your entire fucking build. If you don't do it, you are worthless to the party. Like, maybe toughness if you really want to be the tank.
Fighters who don't take power attack are building wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. Like toughness, I feel like you could argue is building incorrectly as a fighter. Like,
toughness is wrong. Toughness is wrong. Anything other than power attack is wrong on a fighter.
Yeah, and so
if you want to play someone who wields 2 weapons, play a ranger or a rogue.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you're, further into it and you're just, like able to create a character. Because I created a dual-wielder fighter at level 10. The captain, you might remember him. He was a dual-wielding lancer who was all into mounted combat and getting fuckloads of criticals. And it was amazing.
So he dual wields lances, and then he's getting double or triple damage on charge attacks.
Yeah, and then crits. I crit build him too, so he got crits. I think at that level he got crits on 16 or 17 or something. And then the 20th level build I did for him later, I got crits on a fucking 4 or some bullshit. It's just mad what fucking cheese I did on that character, and it was great.
That was a dumb but that was a dumb but fun set of characters. 20th level D&D characters are basically fucking superheroes anyway.
Today's beer of the week is Yeti Imperial Stout, which is another local one from us. This is from Great Divide. I don't know if you've had this one, Chris, but it's pretty good.
I think I have, and I think I really enjoyed it. But
yeah,
I'm a fan of all things stout. So
yeah. Especially good Imperial Stout, because I remember you were the first person that told me about Imperial Stouts, and I'm like, I think I'd heard of them, but I didn't know really what the style was about, and then I started getting into them, and I'm like, yes, Imperial Stouts are like everything I ever wanted. So yeah, Yeti is a really good one, and it's widely available, which is a rare combo. This is probably a good 15 beer on our scale of 3 to 17. And it's available at most big liquor stores. Like, you go to a little mom and pop shop, they keep their, they probably don't have it. But, you go to fucking Molly's or Applejack or something, they'll probably got it, It's a Great Divide, you know them. They're one of the biggest micros out here. Micro. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if Great Divide counts as a micro anymore. They have a contract with the goddamn zoo, right? They have all of the contracts with places to make
can
exclusive beer.
Expert tell us if micro still applies? Because does microbrewery have a specific definition?
Yeah, is that
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, probably. But, that's actually, I'm curious about that, because, is it a certain, bigness? Because in my mind, it's not a corporate brewery, so it's a microbrewery, but there should probably be a different distinction of that. In my mind, there's, different tiers of microbrewery. There's, the little tiny breweries where you can literally only fucking get it there. And then there's, the breweries like GCB where it's, big enough that they can and distribute to a small area. And then there's, Great Divide, which has contracts with the goddamn zoo.
I mean, I'm like, Golden City Brewery is about as... this might be shameful to say, but Golden City Brewery is about as small of a brewery as I've gotten beer from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't had... They're a fairly small brewery. Right, yeah. Actually, there are a couple of different microbrews in Golden now, and GCB is still better than them. So,
yeah.
No offense, Mountain Toad. We like you, but you're not GCB.
I mean, being second best in a town with GCB is not... That's not a shameful thing.
Right. There's another one, too. Actually, I think there's a few, because I think Cannonball Creek is in Golden. I've never been in there, but I drive by the tap room all the time, and I'm like, Cannonball Creek Tap Room. That sounds like a fucking badass place that makes beer, and I want to go. And then I never go, because I'm always, like, on the way to go fishing or something, and I already have beer, because this is, like, one of the things you stock up on before fishing season. Or, you're just like, okay, time to leave the house, pack all my beer, get my can of worms, and we're ready to fish! Woo!
So, I'm like, Mutants and Masterminds is a good example of how long character creation can take in a system that allows you to customize it very thoroughly. There are not that many things that are explicitly prohibited by Mutants and Masterminds, and the things that are, you can house rule away and without adding complexity at all. And then you have systems like Hero System, where they have the same amount of complexity, or the same amount of customization, but in the Hero System, what you could do in Mutants and Masterminds in 1 hour will take you 8 hours in Hero System. And then there's 3.5, where you have... I would say it's somewhat less customizable, because you have the jigsaw pieces you gotta fit together.
Because, like, it's customizable enough to be very interesting at different points, but yeah, you kind of have to work within parameters. And in certain editions of D&D, specifically, fourth, you are really just kind of shoehorned down one path. You're like, I am the ranger, so I do the ranger shit. And that's it.
Yeah. And 4th edition...
I feel like 5th is a little less good than 3.5 and Pathfinder on that, because 5th edition kind of takes feats almost out of the equation. I feel like, again, you're the fighter, you do the fighter stuff, and, like, you can multi-class, you can do some stuff like that. There's some customization within each class, but it's not as... Yeah.
A lot of the mechanical customization and, like, your ability... And also, like, kind of the personalization. We could separate, like, mechanical customization versus, like, personalization of being like, oh yeah, I'm making this character do, like, a unique thing. Or it's like, he wields this kind of weapon.
It takes out a lot of that, but it also definitely reduces character creation time. It's definitely taking the trade-off of less customizable, but also... character creation doesn't take as long.
And
then you have games that are like very much on like the opposite end from all of these systems that we're talking about, all these customizable systems, where you get the games that are like really just fucking dead simple to make a character in. Like basic D&D is you roll your stats in order, 3d6 in order, you write them down, and you're starting gold, and you pick a character class, and that's your and you buy equipment, and that's your character, and that's it. And every fighter, every level 1 fighter, is pretty much like every other level 1 fighter. Like they might have slight variations in the stats, because 3d6 down the line, but they are, mechanically, they're going to play identically. But then again, character creation takes like 5 fucking minutes. It's so simple.
Yeah.
So that's like, when I think about a game where you can like show up the night of and be like, oh, I got a system, I got something I could, we'll run everybody through like Keep of the Borderlands as like level 1 characters, and then someone dies, whatever, they can roll up a character, and as soon as they're done rolling them up, they can run into the middle of the dungeon. We can continue playing. Kind of stuff. So that, I guess that starts tying into our how long should character creation take question, which we haven't been talking about so much.
Right, yeah. So is there like a sweet spot of like hours spent to customization? Is there a good ratio, or how would you present this question?
I think 3.5 nailed probably one of the worst ratios.
Yeah.
So 3.5 is like, despite it's a complicated mess of the system. No matter how much I love that system, it is a fucking mess. So I think the sweet spot. So there's definitely a lot of ways you can get customization up for much less time than 3.5's customization will work. In terms of how long character creation should take, that depends on the gameplay style that your system kind of expects. Like, in a game like Hero System or Mutants and Masterminds or whatever, characters really aren't expected to die a lot. Like, there's a lot of, like, Mutants and Masterminds has an explicitly, like, very non-lethal system. You have to be put into, like, the dying state by, like, an intentional attack. So it's like, oh yeah, the supervillain's trying to stomp on your head, or any of your friends gonna stop the supervillain taking that coup de grace action to put you into like, you have to explicitly be put into the dying state, and then you have to explicitly be put into the dead state. And Hero System usually has like a lot of like stun, like normal damage attacks deal a lot of stun and a little bit of body, and body is like your actual hit points, and stun is like, oh, you're stunned, you're out of the fight kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not just not to say that you can't build like lethal builds in that, but it's a less pure example, I would say.
Right.
But still, the expectation is characters don't die very often, so it's okay to have them take longer to generate.
I like how Jerahim just like kind of ignores me while I'm running around the room gathering hearts. It's like, okay. Whatever, man.
Teleporting around. What a dick.
Yeah. He's just kind of an annoying boss fight. It's... a lot of his mechanics are annoying, I think.
I would say that, in basic, the fact that characters take 5 minutes to make, is important, because it comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Because characters die so often. It's like, oh no, your first level Chad the bad fighter died. Whatever. Here's another character sheet. Roll the dice again, I guess. Hopefully this guy will live longer.
Right.
Feel free to enter the dungeon soon as you made that character. So, I think character creation should be trimmed down to take a shorter period of time, if you can. But if your game is going for something like... It's like the more, like... Your game's going for something more complex, or it's like necessary to add more customization for the kind of game
you want to run, for the kind of game you want to make, then character creation can afford to be a bit longer. Really, was that the whole boss?
Yeah. It's not it's the first boss in the game, so it's not all that bad. It's just a few annoying mechanics, and he comes back later with like more mechanics and more being an annoying douche.
Okay.
That was the first dungeon. Now, you've watched me stream the whole first dungeon, which I thought would be a better entry point, because I feel like everybody's probably streaming Skyward Sword today, like every streamer that's like big, and they're all starting from the start, and I skipped all that boring bullshit because it's like 90% dialogue. So you're welcome.
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
Yeah.
Let
us know if you like us streaming Skyward Sword. I'll stream it more if people are interested.
So, I have been running that new system that I feel like character creation takes, rather than taking 5 minutes, it might take 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
But also characters are expected to live quite a bit longer due to the dismemberment mechanics.
Yeah.
Plug in my own unreleased system here that may never get released depending on what I do in my life, but
right. Speaking of unreleased systems, I was gonna bring ours up. Yeah, because we have invented a system which I have been working on here and there, and trying to get ready for eventual. I would like to publish it at some point. Just see how it does. I'd really like to get like really do it up with artwork and all that kind of stuff, and make something of it. I don't know if it will be like hugely successful, but we'll probably be another one of those artists in that, the indie tabletop scene, making something neat for people to enjoy. But I think we struck a really good balance of make characters in 5 or 10 minutes and have almost limitless customization, because I have been hard-pressed to find some kind of crazy thing that I cannot create in this system.
Yeah, I think the mechanical customization is it in terms of striking a balance in terms of mechanical customization. I think that ends up striking really good balance in terms of time from character creation to play. It's real damn fast.
Yeah. Real quick, David Nystrom is in the chat. He's been a guest on the podcast before, and he's a pretty cool dude. Real quick, I got a question for David, if you're still watching. I was wondering if it would be, I don't know how much under wraps the thing I'm currently working on with him is, or if I should plug that, because I think it's a really cool project I'm working with him. So let us know in the chat there, David, if you're still watching here. Yeah, our system, I feel like, strikes like the best balance that I've seen, not to toot my own horn, but totally at the same time tooting my own fucking horn. It's like I created a set of mechanics that you can apply any flavor to, and it works, in my opinion, as far as I have been able to tell through as much playtesting as we've done, which has admittedly not been enough.
I gotta say, for anyone still listening, that thing where you guys tweet me superhero character concepts, and I put them together. The first 4 people to tweet me superhero character concepts that, from people that, I don't think are trash. I'll be making them into characters in the Super Simple system, and Sean will be running a session of that. Or I'll voice them on Sean and be like, here, Sean, you gotta run this. He'll make the characters. And then
either way, because just come up with any kind of wacky, hilarious bullshit you can. Tweet at us or pop it in the comments here, and we will do it. Actually, we should get around to that. That'd be a hilarious episode. So yeah, and if you don't do it, then I'm gonna create a D100 table or something of just stupid ass superpowers and roll on it live as part of the thing. I might do one character like that anyway if nobody tweets at us or something. That actually sounds fucking hilarious. I'm gonna do that. But yeah, so David Nystrom says, plug away, sir. So I'm going to plug something that I'm working on with him real quick. So David Nystrom has come on. He is a fantastic fan fiction writer over on Zelda Dungeon. You can find his stuff, as well as it's on other places. Look up The Arrow Without a Hero. You can follow it on, he's got a Twitter account for that and stuff, as well as it's on the Fanfiction Fridays on zeldadungeon.net. So check that out. And we are going to be doing a recording of that. I am going to be one of the voice artists for the audio version of his fanfiction, which is super exciting for me because I've always been interested in voice work and different things. I've done little bits here and there for different little indie projects, so I'm glad to be helping out a buddy. So yeah, it's going to be a real cool project. So look out. I'll tell you all when that's all releasing and things. You can also follow at DaveWayne09 on Twitter. He'll probably be plugging it whenever it ends up releasing, as well as the Era Without a Hero Twitter. Look up the Era Without a Hero. I forget the exact tag for that. Dave might put it on the comments below. Oh my God! Somebody's joining the podcast. Is it Dave?
It's Dave.
It's Dave. It's fucking Dave. Woohoo! Hold on. I have to make the all of the windows the right size. Yeah. Hold on.
Cut off your head.
Yeah. But hooray! Dave is here. Let me just edit this all on the fly. I've been meaning to make separate pages for 2 and 3 person podcasts, and I haven't got around to it. So I could just switch on the fly really quick. But I'm not a good streamer. So hi Dave, how you doing?
Enemy of professionalism here.
All right.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Just playing some Skyward Sword and drinking beer. So it's
Yep.
doesn't get much better than that. I mean. Not usually. I mean, depends on the Zelda game, right? I have opinions about this game, but
I know you do.
yeah, we've talked about that a ton before. You've been playing any of the HD today, Dave? Have you got that today?
I did not actually get it. I made the executive decision that because I just played it in February, and that I didn't have a problem with the Wii version. I didn't need it right now, so I didn't want to try to fight for, I have to get an opening day. I figured it's not going anywhere. It's not like Mario All-Stars or anything like that that's going to be taken off the shelf
right, yeah.
for months, so I'm not in any rush to get it.
That's fair. I was
to GameStop tomorrow to see if I can get, if there's any amiibo left over that somebody didn't pick up or whatever, and see if it's something that I can get my hands on, but that's it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet, because I looked around when I was at GameStop, I picked it up, and I was like, you got any extra amiibo? No, there's no. And I went over to Target, actually, because GameStop gives you a really badass poster if you pre-ordered it. That they do good posters anyways, but this one's super badass. Link is all embossed and popping off the page in the... poster and everything. I'm like, this is super awesome. And it reminded me that I have a ton of GameStop posters that I have from different pre-orders that I haven't put up. So I got them now, and I'm gonna get some. But yeah, I went to Target and I looked by their amiibos, but I was mostly there to get a frame for this poster because it's so cool.
Right.
But unfortunately, all the frames at Target were totally the wrong size. They have 2 sizes of poster frames, and they're both way too big. I'm like, that's lame. But
if my camera is weird or anything, I figured I would just pop in, and I'm down here playing some Rocket League late at night.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I was playing Smash, and then I was getting destroyed, so I gave up on that.
Right, yeah. That's fair. I have times like that in online games. I haven't played a ton online lately. I don't play a lot of online games anyways, but every now and then I'm I'm going to get in an online something. Play some Halo, play some Splatoon, something like that.
Just going after her bathwater, I guess.
I rarely play Smash online because it's so inconsistent of whether you'll get somebody who has good... Because I have a good Wi-Fi connection, and that works. But... it's not as good as a good Ethernet connection, and so many people must have total shit Wi-Fi or total shit internet or something in the Smash Bros online, because I always have problems every time. I'm I thought maybe one day I'll invest in the adapter and just hardwire it in, but I was no, with as inconsistent as it is, I don't think it's like a big problem with my Wi-Fi. Like, I bought this new badass Wi-Fi router, and it's awesome and fast and shit. And I'm like, I don't think that's the primary issue, right? I think it's mostly other people trying to get on with like a really shitty Wi-Fi connection in an area that has really shitty internet, something like that. And it's so weird too, because it's like Nintendo is also running Splatoon, and Splatoon 2 online works 100% of the time with no issues.
Right.
And I don't understand how this is the same developer working on this.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Because, like, since I moved, I have not been able to use the, like, get on, like, quick play or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really frustrating, like, because I go in, like, okay, I'd like to play a few matches, see if I can eventually hit that mark where I get into like Elite Smash, because that was my goal from the beginning, was I wanted to get into Elite Smash with my main.
Mm-hmm.
It just never happened. It hasn't happened yet. But now every time I try to go into quick play, I can't. So I've just been popping into like public arenas with one person in it, and then going in there and getting just decimated, feeling bad.
Yeah. That's the problem, is because, like, when you finally find an opponent with good internet and whatever, it's like some, like, hardcore super player that just, like, meteor smashes you off the stage, like, 5 times in a row, and you're like, damn it, stop it!
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So are we done with our topic?
Yeah, I think so. Real quick, we do have another thing to plug. Upcoming at some point, we haven't, like, decided a hard date on this yet, but at some point, we're also going to do a actual play of the tabletop RPG based on The Era Without a Hero. Dave and I have been vaguely talking about that, so watch out for that upcoming at some point as well, because I think that'll be a fun time, because we always like Zelda tabletops. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
My wife was the guinea pig for it a few months back, or about a year ago now, and it was going fine until she had to fight a Molduga, and I gave it way too much HP, and she was way underleveled for that. And so it was like an hour of just rolling dice trying to kill it. Eventually I just made stuff up and was like, yeah, you broke it in half. The Goron character did that.
I'm gonna ask this Kikwi just who the fuck is he? Just like, yeah, I forgot you. Who are you? What do you mean, who am I? I'm your buddy Machi, now I'm sad. Sorry, bro. Now that I'm going through this again, I'm just like choosing all the dickhead answers, just like, who are you? I'm trying to get to my quest. Shut up. Stop talking, Goron, man. I actually like Gorko. He's a really cool character in this game.
Oh, yeah. Pretty much any character in that game that has a G for the name other than the bad guy is pretty cool.
Right. So, Gorko and Groose and...
Groose.
Are we now in the part of the podcast where we're just talking about random bullshit?
Yeah, I guess that moves us on to our final segment here, doesn't it? So we plug our various things and then talk about inane bullshit until somebody says something really awkward and I cut off the podcast. So Dave's here. Dave, plug your stuff as long as you're here.
You can follow me on Twitter at DaveWayne09, or if you're just interested in my Zelda story, The Era Without a Hero, you can follow that at Zelda Tewa, which I'm too focused on car soccer to think of how to think of all the actual letters in that acronym. It's just the letters for The Era Without a Hero. You can find it. You can find the story itself on fanfiction.net or zeldadungeon.net. Has a lot of it as well.
Yeah. Chris, you got anything to plug this week?
Nope. I'll plug it next week or the week after that.
All right. Yeah. There will not be a podcast next week, by the way, because I am going to Disneyland. because apparently that's the thing. Yeah, so I'm gonna save right here, and then we'll call that good for our Skyward Sword stream for the night. And then we'll just talk about inane bullshit. So now I can actually, because while I'm playing Skyward Sword, I cannot actually hold my mouse button over the stop podcast button in case somebody says something really awkward. So I'm gonna drink some more beer because I have not drunk enough beer because I mostly drank a little bit of my rum here and then got distracted by Skyward Sword most of the night. So
got to play Skyward Sword most of the night.
I did, that was okay. Yeah, so I'm liking this remake so far. Go ahead, Chris.
Is there just a reason you couldn't use your feet
for
hitting the stop button?
Oh, for hitting the stop. I was like, I can't drink beer with my feet, Chris. Maybe I could. Hold on.
If you bring up both of your... Okay.
Hold on.
Alright.
Hold on. Challenge fucking accepted. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. I am not as flexible as I once was. Can I get my feet... I can hold the beer with my feet. Getting my feet to my head is the issue here. Fuck.
Do you have a straw?
Not nearby.
That sucks.
Yeah, I at one point I was flexible enough. I bet I could get one foot to my face, right?
Excuse me.
There you go. But yeah, both feet just apparently not happening. I'm an old fart now. Put my background back where it was. Now you know this illusion here is not really an illusion. It's actually a big ass map of Hyrule. So.
Well, that's probably the worst thing I put on the internet.
Me trying to drink beer with my feet?
No, me drinking some coffee with my feet.
Ah, I didn't see it. Do I have to catch the replay, or am I going to make you do it again?
You'll have to catch the replay.
Okay, I have to drink because I missed that shit. But yeah, I'm actually very happy generally with how the Joy-Cons work with the Skyward Sword here. It's again, like I said this earlier, but the only issue I'm running into is I have to reset the gyro every so often. Like if I, send out my beetle or whatever, then I'm having to reset the gyro. But again, it's one button and you reset, so it's not that bad. That was in the original. That was an issue occasionally, but I feel like it wasn't as much in the original. But I also haven't played the original in years, so because I was actually thinking of replaying Skyward Sword like you, Dave, right before they announced this remake, and I was like, okay, I'm not dragging out my Wii. It's fine. Because I still have my Wii, although I got a thing, actually. I was going to start streaming Wii and GameCube games on the podcast, because I got a little dongle that I can plug into the back of my Wii, and then I can plug an HDMI cable out. And I was like, that is super cool. Then I can stream all my GameCube games, all my Wii games, but then I put in some game or another. Oh, I remember. I put in Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, which I have a GameCube copy of, which I am super ecstatic that I have a GameCube copy of, because they are fucking expensive. They're like $300 for used copies now. And I was like,
years and you can pay for college with that.
Right, yeah, almost, yeah. Unless they, port it to Switch, and then nobody will give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
So, it's like, do I want them to port it to Switch or not? What I want is for it to go into this crazy ass Mario 64 for 1.5 million. Get up to that level, then I can sell it, and then they port it to Switch so I can still play it. That would be perfect.
Didn't that get beat out by something like Double Dragon 2 now too? Like an old NES version of that sold for more than that?
I haven't heard about a Double Dragon one. The last one I heard, because there was 2 of them right in a row, because the original Super Mario Brothers was a few months ago that I think it was like back in April, sold for like 600,000. And then a Zelda 1 copy sold like last week. We were talking about it on the podcast last week. It was for 800,000. It beat the record. And then this week, like it was like 2 days later, a Mario 64 copy sold for 1.5 mil. And we were just like, what the absolute fuck? This is insanity, man. So I have not heard about a Double Dragon outdoing that yet, but
it was like some obscure, like it wasn't even like the original. It was like Double Dragon 2 on the SNES or something like that.
Huh.
I thought I heard something about that. Maybe I'm...
Yeah, maybe it was a big seller or something, but I think the world record holder is still the Mario 64. But, you know, that's such a weird-ass thing that it sold for that fucking much. Because we were talking about this earlier, the last highest-selling Mario 64 cartridge, again, was a complete in-box, you know, original 1996 or whatever, and graded very slightly lower, like 0.1 points low. I think it was 9.6 instead of 9.7. What did I say earlier? I forget.
1.8.
Yeah, something like that. So it's like 0.1 points lower, and it sold for like $30,000, which is a big-ass chunk of money, but it's not 1.5 fucking million.
No, yeah.
So, like, what's going on here, man? Used games are fucking crazy. Does anybody want to buy my... Will anybody give me $1.5 million for my Fire Emblem game? Let me know in the comments below if you will give me $1.5 million for that. That is a price I will sell that for. $300, I've, like, considered it and then been like, no, I want to play this game. Damn it.
Yeah.
Path of Radiance is fucking amazing.
If you sell it for 1.5 million, then you can just buy a bunch of them for $300.
Sell them all for 1.5 million? I'm rich already. My scheme has worked. As soon as somebody buys the first one for 1.5 million.
Yep.
It, like, legit, I think if somebody pays me 1.5 million, I'm going to take that 1.5 million, I'm going to buy a house, and then I'm going to take the rest of that money, and I'm going to invest it. I'm going to, like write a letter to Nintendo, like, I will give you all of this money to help fund porting this fucking game to Switch. So if somebody buys my Fire Emblem game for $1.5 million, we will win. Yes, we all win. We will get Fire Emblem Path of Radiance on Switch. I'll ask them nicely if they'll include Radiant Dawn in that too, because Radiant Dawn is like, I feel like it's an underrated, like, gem. It's like, everybody gives it shit for not being as good as Path of Radiance, but, like, no Fire Emblem game is as good as Path of Radiance. In my opinion, no tactics-based RPG is as good as Path of Radiance. That is my favorite fucking one.
See, I never got to play those. I wish I had the opportunity to at some point.
Yeah.
So somebody buy your copy for 1.5 million so we can get it on the Switch.
Yeah, then Dave wins. So you are supporting Dave by buying my fucking Fire Emblem games, right?
Hell yeah.
Everyone listening to this sends me $1 per dollar they have. We'll be rich in no time.
Oh, just missed it.
If I sent you $1 per dollar I had, I'd probably still have to pay you in beer.
Is anybody taking you up on your stick figure?
No, nobody's talked me. So that's a thing that I'm technically serious about. Literally, I posted this a few days ago. If you want to commission me for artwork, I will give you shitty stick figure artwork of anything you request for $1 or 1 beer. So, yeah, hit me up. I'll give you all the shitty artwork you want.
I have seen his shitty stick figure art. It is definitely Kingdom of Loathing quality.
Thank you so much.
It has a man wielding a sword that can also be smoked as a pipe. Where he sticks the sword in, I'm not sure. Maybe his butt.